I don't know if you've seen the movie yet. It's basically true what happens in the movie. One of the major DNA companies, they had just started, and I heard a radio announcement. And I just thought, oh, that's so cool that by spitting into a tube, you can track relatives across the world. That's really the reason I did it. I didn't even believe it was true. I just thought it might be a gimmick. And so my husband and I did the test together, and his results came back perfect, and mine did not. The major thing, it said that I was only 49% Ashkenazi Jew and 51% Northern European. And both my parents were Jewish and Ashkenazi Jew. I mean, I knew where their grandparents were from and their towns in Russia and Poland. So I just thought that I did the test wrong.
Your your story's like the opposite of mine because I was expecting to find African DNA, and instead I had 50% Ashkenazi, and I had never even heard the term before. I was like, I don't even know what this means. You knew right away because you wanted 100% on your pie.
Yeah, but I was sure that I did it wrong and that the test wasn't accurate. And because this was really when the test first came out. And so no one I knew did it, no one talked about it. I just thought it was just a fun thing. It's so silly. I had done a dog DNA test. We had this mixed dog that just kind of came to us, and my husband and I wanted to figure out what she was. I mean, had no idea. And it just came back unknown terrier. So that's what I figured like this was just kind of like, we don't really know. And then I thought I did it wrong. I ate a sandwich right when like before doing it, and they said you shouldn't eat like 30 minutes before. So I was sure that the whole thing. But the only thing that kept me thinking, okay, maybe there is something to this, is it said that I had a grandfather who was exactly my age living in Long Island, New York. So, and I'm from Long Island. So there was that seemed truthful. Exactly my age seems there's something to that. A grandfather didn't seem right because he was exactly my age, but there was enough truth to it to keep me exploring with the guy who turned out to be my half brother because we shared a similar.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, this most people don't realize because it's all these new words. You look at your test results and it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I was like, they must have half my test wrong. I know that's a thing, right?
Right, right.
But they say like your centimorgans and then they give you what it could be. But those centimorgans, there's a whole bunch of different relationships, right? That it could be.
Yeah.
So it's so confusing.
It is so amazing. And with the ones removed, and I mean, because I even have cousins now who are my, I guess, first, second cousins, but it says it in a very different way that I never, if I didn't know she was my actual cousin, I'd be like, I have no idea who this is and how in the world are we related. It's very complicated. And
So did you reach out to the grandfather first?
yeah, I reached out to him first. I just said, okay, clearly the test is wrong, but hi. And so he responded immediately and he's like, yeah, I'm getting the same result. That's so weird. So then he emailed the company and they said, DNA doesn't lie, but people do.
Hmm.
Like, wow, okay. And they then changed, they said because we're the same age, they changed our relationship on our charts to half brother and half sister. Now I'm like, what? And I enlist my mother to help me on this case, and I enlist my sister, and yeah, my mom, who is
Well,
everyone loves to talk about my mom.
we love to talk about our moms. My mom said to
Yeah.
me when I asked her, I said, Mom, I got these DNA test results and dad's not my dad. And what she said to me was exactly that. Well, DNA doesn't lie, but I don't know who it is. So DNA doesn't lie. You can't
Oh
get
my
around
God.
that.
I want to hear your story now.
I have a crazy story. I've listened to hundreds, if not thousands, of these stories now, and they all have some overlap, but we all have our own unique journeys. I loved seeing your story come to life on film and deal with a lot of the issues. Because let's face it, Dad's Not Your Dad is the oldest story trope there is.
Hmm.
We've Star Wars, I could sit and name tons of movies,
Yeah.
but they don't get into these impacts, which I'm so grateful that you at least touch on and bring to light that people face. Let's go back to your mom. You're saying the movie pretty much follows your
Yeah,
story
it's
closely?
pretty much the crux of it is my story. It's not autobiographical. There's a lot that is made up for dramatic purposes, but the craziest things that happen in it are actually the true things. And it is a comedy, I want everyone to know that because I know these subjects tend to feel very overwhelming and very heavy, which I dealt with for many, many, many years. But I think after like 6 years after it happened, I was so lived with it, it became just part of me that I was able to see it in a different perspective. And so I did make it a comedy, but oh my gosh, it was not a comedy at first.
Right. And the time is sort of scrunched in the
Yes.
movie, right? You're
Yes.
talking about a number of years that these things over time
Yeah.
sort of unfold. And of course you can't do that in a time it takes to do a movie.
Right.
Um, I think that you brought up a good point about the 6 years. I'm 8 years in. And I think when people first have their story, there's so many things coming at you that it's so overwhelming. And trying to tell your story can be really hard. You need that time to
Absolutely.
get some distance and some answers.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I just think I went through an identity crisis.
Mhm.
It took me a really long time to figure out like who am I? What am I? It was really hard. And when I first started writing the movie, it wasn't a comedy because I was trying to really stay truthful to my story. But then I realized my mom is still alive. She's my best friend in the whole entire world. We talk two, three times a day on the phone. I don't want to spend 2 hours of a movie bashing this woman who I love more than anything in this world because I mean, it's all about love. Family is about love. And that's the theme of my movie. And so, basically I made it a comedy and I definitely lightened it because she was going through her own struggles too with this whole thing. Fertility now isn't what it was, or infertility, I should say.
But I
Just
still
the big
think,
thing.
there's the shame associated with infertility. I don't think we talk about it enough to sort of bring the light to that and understand there's all these beautiful ways we can still make a family. We just have to do them in ways that put the best interest of the child first. And I think a lot of parents don't take the time to process that infertility.
My father passed away in 1996, and I do have a sense of peace, and I'm grateful that he died before I found out because I think that would have just made everything worse. What I went through, then he would have to go through it, and my mother have to, it was enough as it is.
The ripple effects of these
Yeah.
things are you have your mom and your dad that raised you, then you have the family that you've created, if you have a spouse or a significant other, and kids that now have something different, and then siblings, which I love how you dive into your relationship in the movie, and then new family, and that's all hard to navigate, just all of these things that are crazy. Yeah.
It's so complicated. And when I've been doing a lot of these screenings, what comes up a lot is people who are adopted. It's, when you are adopted, you are part of that family, whether you're their DNA or not. So it really makes you question, what is DNA important? For me, I think it just comes down to honesty and knowing. I think a lot of us NPEs I think a lot of us are very stuck in that feeling of betrayal and
Mhm.
just not knowing and being blindsided. I I wish that I grew up knowing and have that sense of pride about me. Like, oh, I was made in a laboratory or whatever the heck I was, you
Made
know?
in love, made in love.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And there is a certain like excitement knowing that my parents, my mom went out of her way to go to this doctor to have this procedure done. It's such a different way of looking at it than it was at the time, where it was, she had no support around her. Women didn't talk about it, families didn't talk about it. There was such a shame involved that it breaks my heart for my mom and it breaks my heart for my dad, what they had to go through.
Yeah, I mean, men definitely. I would even say today, they're not talking about it today, even
Yeah.
about the inability to, uh, well, if you're infertile, regardless of why, there's just something demasculating the mentality
Mhm.
surrounding it, which is so unfortunate because it
Yeah.
has nothing to do with that. We say
No.
family is and, not or. You don't have to choose.
Mhm.
Children can love multiple parents. We have stepchildren or step parents, and we understand what that means as a child. So we could have a genetic parent out there. That
Right.
knowing part is so critical.